I want to come across as someone who can speak with confidence about my business. That's the main issue people have when it comes to thinking about how they portray themselves in video. They find it really easy face to face. Sometimes they find it easier when they're talking to people one-to-one or even in a small group. But mention the word video and something seems to happen. What seemed to be so easy face to face is a real big deal when you're talking about video. And I like to say that there's some other little people come along and talk to us whenever we're thinking about portraying ourselves in video. Those are the what if pixies. You know the ones I'm talking about, those little darlings who come along and say, what if you can't remember your words? What if you sound silly? What if you just look like a complete plank on video? Well, what I'd like to do today is actually, let's get rid of those what if pixies, let's kick them into touch, and I'm going to share with you 3 top tips that will have you doing all of your sharing on video with ease and confidence. Okay, so top tip number 1 is a P. P stands for practice. It's really amazing how so many people leave this tip out. They think they can just rock up, turn on a camera and sound really good, really polished, really confident. Doesn't necessarily work like that, particularly when you're talking about something as close to your heart as your business. So before you start thinking about putting together a video and having somebody like Ribbons Media help you put that together, it's really important that you practice what you're going to say. Now, don't get me wrong. Although I think it's really important that you think about what you're going to say, you research some of the things that might help you sound even more brilliant than you are already. And maybe you want to be thinking about some key facts that you're going to put in there. You actually need to practice. You need to put a script together and then think, how am I going to do this? Government health warning here. I'm not saying practice so much that you're word perfect with your script. I really encourage people to avoid that, because if you're word perfect with your script, it sounds very mechanized. Whereas what you really want is to have a conversation with your viewer. You want to have that feeling of intimacy between them and you through what you're saying. So do put a script together. It's so important to have the structure about what you're saying and have a real good idea about what you need to get across. But please, don't have it word perfect. Nobody's word perfect, okay? So practice. You've got your script together. What I suggest is once you have it together is you bring it down into sizable bites or bite-sized chunks, whichever one works for you. I tend to find that if I can summarize my key points, I put them onto little cards, sometimes onto post-it notes. And that's what I work with. I don't work with the big script, the big bit of paper that I've printed everything out on. So then what you do? Well, you probably aren't going to want to hear this one, but I think it's really good to practice in front of the mirror. The mirror is a really good friend for you if you're practicing presentations, because not only can you see what you look like and if you're smiling, but you can see what your body language is doing. Are you hunched? Are you maybe bending over too much? Are you using your hands too much? And things like that. Using a mirror can really help you. If that's a step too far, worry not. Enlist the help of your best mate. Make sure it's the best mate who's going to be kind to you though. Some best mates love to just really be as critical as they can. So get your best mate there. Bribe them, give them chocolate, give them wine, have them sitting there so you can keep rehearsing a number of times. Okay, so you don't have a best mate or there isn't one around. If you have a dog, a cat, a goldfish, present to them. Imagine they're the person that you're actually giving this presentation for. That customer of yours who really wants to hear from you. And then Again, if you feel up to it, you can always use your smartphone just to show you what you look like, and more importantly, what you sound like whenever you are rehearsing. Key thing about the audio, a lot of people don't like the sound of their own voice. And one of the things that you get through rehearsing, either by recording yourself or just actually doing it, is that the words that come out of your mouth go into your ears and you get used to how you sound, believe it or not. Try it, give it a go, it'll work for you. So, preparation. I can't tell you how important preparation is. It's really important for a number of reasons. Number one, if you don't prepare, you don't really know what you're going to say. But number two, you can look at the vast range of things that you offer as a business owner, and then you can decide which of those things you're going to talk about on this specific video that you're going to be doing with Ribbons Media. Initially, make things as small as possible. So look at that area of your business that you want to speak about. Think about, what are the key points that I want to get across to that lovely customer who's going to engage with this video. Grab yourself a whole stack of post-it notes or small coloured cards and start jotting down key points. Now at this point, we're using one word or maybe a small phrase. We're not writing loads and loads of sentences. Once you have all those post-it notes and all of those cards, what you can then do is put them in order. Which ones belong together? Which ones don't belong at all? Which ones belong to another talk that I'll do at a later time? Bring all the key points together, and then you're in a position to do a thing called chunking up and creating your script. At this point, because you've gone through the phase of actually making everything small, it keeps everything concise and to the point, and then you don't waffle off the way I do sometimes on video. So at that point, you're ready to put your script together. Again, a little point of government health warning about scripts. A script is there to help you. A script is there to guide you in the direction and the structure of your talk. The script is not there to replace your personality. So therefore, if you're thinking, well, I'm just going to learn all this word for word and that'll be fine, please don't. I find if you learn these things off word for word, what happens is it comes across as a person who's reciting something they've learned word for word. And what you want through this video is to engage with your audience, with your customer. You want them to see you, and you want them to see your personality and the really marvelous person you are that they can work with. So the final tip, I said I was going to give you 3 top tips. The final top tip is actually in 2 sections. The first section is relax. Okay, I know you're saying to yourself, is she having a laugh? How can I relax? I'm all keyed up. I'm doing this thing. I'm really uncomfortable. Well, actually, let's put this in perspective. If you can be relaxed in front of the camera, you're going to come across so much better to your audience, to your customer. So here's a few things you can do. Listen very carefully. First of all, about 10 minutes before you're going to do the video, take yourself off somewhere quiet. I find a cubicle in the loo works for me. And we're going to do some exercises. The first part of your body that actually shows your stress is your shoulders. So it's important that we loosen those shoulders up, because if your shoulders are tight, your neck is tight. If your neck is tight, your face will show it. So the first thing to do is do some shoulder circles. I would say go back 5 times, come forward 5 times, then just shake it out a little bit. Another shoulder exercise, take your shoulders out to your ears, have a little shrug, hold them there for a bit, try and keep your arms as loose as possible, and let them drop. Do that about 3 times. If you do it too much, sometimes you can end up pulling a little muscle in your neck, and that wouldn't be a good thing for you. The other thing, you can't see me doing this, but you know, wiggle your hips. Get some hip and lower back action going, and your knees at the same time. Pretend you're maybe listening to a song and wiggle along. The reason for that is actually very, very simple. The other place that holds pressure and tension is your lower back, and you might not even be aware of it. You might even have had to drive some way to come to have your video done, and you've got all that tightness around your buttocks and your lower back. So a little bit of a wiggle, get your knees going, get your bottom going, that relaxes it. So those are our two body parts that you can do very easily in a confined space, will just bring you down and help you relax. The final thing, and actually in a lot of ways it should be the first thing that you need to be thinking about, is your breathing. Remember, if you're not breathing, you're not thinking, you're not speaking. You need your breath to be calm. And one of the ways that I suggest you do this is a lovely little exercise. It's called circular breathing. We'll do it together. All you need to do is breathe in for a count of 4. So breathing in, 1, 2, 3, 4. You hold that breath, 1, 2, 3, 4. You breathe out, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you hold the breath at the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4. Do that maybe 3, no more than 4 or 5 times. What I don't want people to do is get to the point where they hyperventilate because they're filling their lungs with too much air. But what happens there is when you're controlling your breathing and you're counting, it just makes everything so much more relaxed. So that's it. Now you're ready for that big video opportunity. And just remember, before you go for it, you're going to do your 2 Ps, your preparation, your practice, then you're going to relax and breathe. Oh, and more importantly, have some fun. When you have fun, the camera loves you, and your audience will love you, your customer will love you. Just give it a go.